Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com, and today I want to talk to you about repurposing, upcycling, and donating, and all the other stuff you need to do with clothing that you want to declutter. So when I go through all my clothing to determine what goes where, I usually keep a couple of boxes or bags out, and clothes that are in good condition can go to be donated or they can be sold. Usually I do not go the selling route just because I don't buy super expensive name brands. I just don't care that much about clothing. I buy what fits and what feels comfortable, and usually they're not super expensive items, so their value isn't, there's not much value to them. So I will donate and use that as a tax deduction if the clothes are in good condition. But a lot of the cases, I'm thinking that probably the clothing is not going to get resold because it's not perfect condition. I have 2 dogs, so a lot of times I'll have like a little sweater with like a hole in it or something, just a little teeny hole, and I don't really want to throw these things out. So I've come up with a lot of ways to upcycle or reuse clothing so that they don't go to waste. If they're in really bad condition and they're made of a natural fiber such as wool or cotton, they can actually be cut into strips and go into the compost bin. I don't do that very often. It does take a little bit longer than, say, food scraps to break down, and it's hard to determine what's a synthetic fiber and what's not. I mean, certain things, like I believe polyester is, but you know, of course, this is partially cotton and partially spandex, and I'm pretty sure spandex is not natural fiber. So the first thing I do when I'm upcycling my clothing is I go through and I cut off any pieces that might be able to be reused, and I just check them to make sure they're in good condition. If they're not, I don't want to keep them, of course, because they're not usable. But in this case, I had some old nursing bras, and they have the brackets from where you can snap and unsnap them, and these are actually in good condition. There's no issues with them. They're not broken. The paint job is still good on them. So I collected them all, cut them all off carefully, just cutting the fabric around it, and I can keep them in a little jar. This is a really good way to make sure you save pieces of plastic on clothing and keep them from going into the landfill, because they don't take up much space, and you can probably give them away to somebody else or even possibly sell them in bulk on eBay or whatever. I don't know. Now, we recently did an upcycle project with old wedding dresses, and people donated their wedding dresses for us to make something called angel gowns. These are gowns for babies that have passed, and the parents will, a lot of times, will have a hard time finding a gown that fits them for burial, especially if it's a little baby. So we made a bunch of little teeny angel gowns to donate to the hospital. Now, when we were upcycling the dresses, we did realize we had a few parts of the dress that we really weren't sure how to upcycle. And I'm going to talk about the angel gowns actually in a tutorial tomorrow, so you'll see more about that then. But we had the tulle from the gowns. I was like, we can't make a gown with this, an angel gown really necessarily. So I saved that to the side. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that. But and there's a few other things that we had a hard time with now, or that otherwise couldn't be used in the angel gown. One of those things is the zipper, and I think it's always a good idea to save zippers. And I cut around the zipper, but of course, if I went to use this, I would want to actually seam rip. And I have something called a seam ripper, which if you sew, you know what this is. And I would just go along and pull out the stitches. You do not want to hit your actual item, like in this case the zipper. I don't want to hurt my zipper fabric while I'm doing this. So it doesn't matter if I hurt the fabric it was attached to, because this is scrap. But otherwise I can use this by just going like this. And again, it's a little bit of work, but when you consider the cost for a zipper, particularly a zipper that's maybe this quality or this length, you just save some money if you start looking at how you can upcycle some of the items. So the main thing that I do with old fabric that isn't in good condition or that it's in really small strips, for example, leftover fabric, I use my selvage edges from a lot of sewing projects, and I will save those. And what I do is I braid them into this long bucket worth of braided fabric that I have. I'm going to show you what I do with this in a minute, but first let me show you how I get that fabric off my shirts or other clothing, because I have this right here is a pair of shorts like that I just cut up, and it's not perfect. It's not a perfect rectangle, and I could cut it to be, but I don't really need to, because that's not a necessity for this particular project. So these are a bunch of nursing bras that I am cutting up. I removed the bodice area, cut it off, and I want to show you on this shirt. As you can see, this is the bodice. I could seam rip this, but that is a lot of work when I could just cut. So here I am. I have the bottom portion of my shirt. Now, if this was a t-shirt, if you were using one that didn't have seams on it, this could actually be used for t-shirt yarn. But because this has seams, it makes it kind of hard to knit into things. For our project, it won't be a big deal that the seams show. So we are going to fold it in half, like this. And then I am just going to take scissors or a rotary cutter, and I can, go down this way. I'm going to just cut strips. Make sure you leave a portion at the bottom that's not cut. And I will do that really quick. Okay, so as you can see, we got this. And when we open it up, as you can see, we have all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top one, and I'm going to cut right across. And as you can see, now I can just cut every time I come here. So we're actually cutting across. So it's down one level. Braided fabric, you can actually make rag rugs, but this is like my all-time favorite project because I absolutely love my rag baskets, and they take a long time. Like, I hand sew this one, and it takes a really long time to hand sew, but if you make smaller baskets, it's really reasonable and fairly quick to do. And you see a lot of different colors in here, and it looks kind of funny, and you don't realize, but I have t-shirts, I have some Dr. Seuss fabric, I have some airplane fabric, and I know this because I'm the one that used this fabric in the past. But if you're looking at it, you can't necessarily see that, oh, that's Danielle's old t-shirt she used to wear, you know. So kind of a neat way to reuse it, and you can make little ones, you can make big rag rugs instead of buying rugs. Lots of cool options for it. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. I'm going to actually add a few other projects that I've done using scrap fabric on my blog post about this. So make sure to go check it out. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye. Now tomorrow I'm going to have a post about angel gowns up, and that is this right here. This was made from an upcycled wedding dress. We had 2 wedding dresses that we were working with, and we made 11 gowns, angel gowns, to donate. So really great cause. If you have an old wedding dress and you can sew, they would really appreciate you donating your time and your dress. And if you do that, the nice thing if you're doing your own dress instead of trying to sew other people's like we did, is you can take a piece of that fabric and make something for yourself. So we had a lot of tulle left over, and if you had a little girl and you had all the tulle from your wedding dress, you could easily make like a little tulle skirt for her, and it would be great. So you could feel like you passed your wedding dress on in some ways to your kid without actually holding on to an entire dress that they're probably not going to wear when they get married because they may not fit your size or whatever. You could also take a cut of your wedding dress and put it in put it around a board or a piece of foam or something and staple it on, and you could put it inside a shadow box along with other items from your wedding that maybe you kept. You could make a table runner, you could make jewelry. Some people make like little pieces of jewelry with just a little piece of lace from their dress. Lots of cool ideas that you could do while you're also giving your dress and your time sewing to make these angel gowns for people to use.